to Highgate Board. Meeting beginning. Richard?
To start this off, I'd like to ask presented the convoluted evidence. And then we'll go with the Chris,
Everybody hear me?
you need this, Chris?
I don't think so. Okay, just a quick summary of this, like they said, looking to purchase 18 acres to put a wastewater system on. It would help the development of Macy property. It also would help anybody within the village. Say their system fails, they would have the opportunity to join on to this wastewater. If they want, it's not required. There has been interest already from some of the commercial businesses in town to join on if they could, if we put this in. As it was also stated, it's completely funded, no tax dollars going to this. There's a $200,000 grant, $200,000 grant, then the other 100,000 comes from the COVID relief. Open for questions.
Yes.
So do you have how much it's gonna cost to hook up to this? And what you're gonna charge per month? For the service? That's what I'm waiting on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so we're voting for something that don't have the answers.
I'm just the moderator, man. That
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Go ahead, Derek.
So to answer your question, this vote is only for the purchase of the property, not for construction. When we get closer to construction, you will have another opportunity to have a public vote as to whether you want to go forward at that time. At that time, you'll have all of your connection fees, your flow meter rates, plus more information about what may go on to that. This is merely the vote for the property. We already have more interest than we have capacity at this moment.
So is this system gonna be monitored by somebody? Are we gonna have to pay somebody to monitor this system? And if so, will they be free? The system's gonna have to be pumped out. Are they gonna pump it out for free? How much? I mean, this is gonna be a big system. So it's gonna be very expensive to pump the system.
Mr. Moderator.
I can answer that. It's actually a very simple system. It's very much like a conventional leach field. Yes, it will be pumped and stuff like that, but that's what will be built into those fees. That's the stuff that once we have the property, we can then do all the design. We actually have some of the funding for the design or for the construction of it already in place, grant funding. But once again, we didn't want to put the cart before the horse. We need the property first.
Okay, so my next thing, my big thing is, Eddie, you're gonna guarantee me that none of my property taxes will be put towards this system? I'd like this guarantee. Because we've got people that are not gonna be able to hook up to the system where they live. You're gonna guarantee us that our property taxes will not be touched with this system.
No one's ever going to guarantee that your taxes are not going to go up.
There you go.
Nobody that's sane in this entire world will ever tell you that.
This system, where's that fair?
The same way that I don't have children, but my taxes go to support the school. It's to support the greater good of the community.
Like 2 months, but you're already saying you've got a lot of interest. And you're already saying that you're gonna pump that tank out. Who's gonna drink the first glass of water that comes out the other end is behind my house? gonna contaminate my water.
Well, I would disagree that it's gonna contaminate your water. I'm assuming you're on a well.
How can not? It's either gonna evaporate or it's going in the ground.
That's the point of a system though, is it cleans the water. That's why they have to build the system big enough.
I think you're confused. This is not a water treatment plant. It's a leach field, just like the leach field that you have at your home now. Just like your neighbor has a leach field, just like the next neighbor has a leach field. That's why you have to have that amount of land and that type of soil.
Contaminate my well.
It's not going to contaminate your well.
You put that in a guarantee and give me 5 times. I can't spend my land because it's contaminated. Take the first drink off the pipe and does the end.
You're not going to take the first drink off the pipe at the end.
Go ahead.
The whole permitting process to it.
Go ahead.
Anyhow, if it's such a simple system, they're saying, if I would agree. How many places is gonna be coming off of that Rollins Way?
It's based on capacity. So the reason we're buying as much land as we are, is we're gonna eventually would build the system in stages. So right now, I believe it's 6,500 gallon capacity. I don't know the exact capacity per house off the top of my head, but because once again, this is for the purchase of the land, not the vote for putting in a system.
There'd be no question. Because it's all free.
Monitor.
Go ahead, Sharon.
So the Meshi property itself, what we call the village core, is scheduled to use 5,000 gallons of that capacity. We have commercial interest that would equal over 750 gallons of capacity each. Then there is some talk of whether or not we could use that system for this arena. So you are already over with 3 properties, you're already over your 6,500. So that would be 2 commercial hookups and whatever goes on the Meshi property in the next 20 years.
So something can happen, but.
That's right, you never know.
Bob.
Yes.
It's down behind my swamp with streams coming out of the bank. It's not really suitable putting. So I'm wondering, number one, why an 80 acres? That's a very big leach field. I'd say if it's 10 acres behind me, are suitable. Are you planning on putting in more toward what the sand pit was?
Yes, we have had with Robert Clark.
Yeah.
From Otter Creek come out and we did test, dug some test plots and stuff. No, the leach field would not be 18 acres, not even close to that. The reason we're buying so much land is there is a gully in it that we can't use, but it gives us some buffering around this leach field to prevent runoff into other people's land.
Yeah.
The actual leach field will be where the old sand pit was.
Okay, because. Digging there and the bank let go.
Yep.
And now if you went and look at it, refrigerators, farms, soaps, and everything there, they had to use emergency something to keep the whole thing, basically all the centers from going down. So I would just be very concerned because of the steep, the sand that goes down there. You guys touch that.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't, you can't have a leach field on a hill like that. It has to be on a fairly flat level area, and it would be up where they removed all the sand out of the sand pit. Yes,
Down to pay taxes. So,
correct.
so this is another 18 acres paid out of tax. And the benefit for this long-term community good, I guess, saying, right?
Well, the other part of it too is eventually, if you could do something, develop the Macy property. The town's not gonna develop it, it would get sold or it's there's a lot of works in the irons in the fire right now. I can't give you exact details. There's a lot of ideas. But at the end of the day, and with the exception of, say, they built a library community center on there, that would stay within the town. But if they build, say, senior housing there, that would be a developer, that wouldn't be the town. And so that would go back on the tax.
Okay, and it had been eventually turning this each field into a sewage treatment.
No,
Okay, I'm done.
Norm,
Yeah, I want us to understand that the few commercial properties that have been acquired will take up the whole capacity of this project.
of stage one.
Well,
So we're
except for
gonna-
the 5,000.
This- Basic, most citizens get the use of. Pay for it. And we're gonna put a sewage line in somewhere. That's not included in this price that I haven't seen it.
Correct.
That's not gonna be cheap either, if you're gonna go across a bunch of roads and everything else. So. Highgate's turning into a developer,
No,
is that what we're doing?
that's not what we're,
It's supposed to be for the good of the people. It sounds like it's for the good of 2 or 3 companies. And the rest of.
well, stage one would be its capacities at potentially at reach. That's if we keep the full 5,000 for the Macy property, which there's nothing there right now. Then there's also room with this amount of acreage to expand the system. We can expand it to help a lot more people in the village.
What's the potential of the expansion?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Somebody ought to know.
aren't we having an engineer?
Yeah, we have all the
Over design
engineered, yes.
Because the engineer themselves said this is the best way to go, is to have, is over design the system. Now at this point, before we move, rather than under designing the system and then limiting only the amount of businesses that can go on to it. So until we actually sit down for the next step and find out what the size of the design wants to be. I personally can't, sitting here, I can't tell you that it's not designed big enough. Until I see something from the engineer that's going to be able to support that.
Just sounds to me kind of. Got purchasing something, we're gonna commit ourselves to something. Kind of like the Macy property, that's been a great. And and it's only gonna be. Keep sinking more money into it like we have the Macy property. And there's probably no end. I don't see that as being looking out for the average voter. And that's just my opinion.
To build on what Scott said a little bit, if there's enough interest in this passes tonight and we do get the property. Well, we can talk with the engineer and go right to stage 1 and 2 and build it to the capacity of the need. We just started with stage 1 because we didn't realize there was as much interest as there was. We were trying to over design for the needs for the Macy property, but there has been a lot more interest than we were expecting at initially.
Go ahead, man.
The village board committee that has been working with all of this. So when Chris is talking about the different phases, this is for the purchase of the property. So we have this 18.5 acres that we would like to purchase because it would allow something to go on the Macy property at some point, so that hopefully we can start getting some revenue back from that. But like Chris said, this is more land than we need for just that and a couple houses to tie in or a couple businesses. That I think we were trying to be super transparent with coming with this vote and then planning to come with another vote in probably the next 6 months-ish. Don't hold me to that. But at that vote, it will be for the design of this system. So like Chris had just said, we had no idea that there was going to be this much interest in this system. Well, there's enough right now, there's enough interest right now. More to do more than what we had planned on in the first phase. But like Chris had said, we could, knowing that there's all this interest, present kind of a phase 1 and 2 idea when we come back to you with a vote. But we thought that it made sense to come to the taxpayers and ask them first, do we want to purchase this property? If the answer is no, then we didn't spend any more money on engineers trying to design. So I think we really thought that we were doing the right thing, coming to you in these steps like this, even though it means that we don't have the answers for all of that engineering stuff, because we haven't done it yet. We didn't want to spend the money on something that we might not need to spend money in. But we do need to have a wastewater system to do anything on that main property.
Go ahead, sir.
How many acres are actually missing of the 18.5 for what you're looking for?
That I don't know.
About 80% is usable if we expand to the full design.
Next question is, construction fails, what do you plan on doing about it?
We've had quite a little interest from the rec department, who has no more land here to expand, to also use those fields with or without the septic or wastewater system on it. Right. But what the whole purpose of the wastewater system to begin with was to develop that Macy property, to develop that in a way that took into account what people have suggested to the village core committee that they would like to see in that spot, which may or may not include a library and community center, which may or may not be senior housing, which may or may not be commercial property development, which may or may not include a cafe or restaurant where people can gather, which may or may not include a new post office. But we can't without wastewater, because the wells of all the neighbors would be affected by the system if you tried to put a traditional system there. You couldn't feasibly commercially develop there. You have to be able to pump that wastewater out to a leach field.
By the native land. Is there another meeting that happened that is including questions to the require fees, all that?
Yes, you know,
Actually.
yeah, yes.
No, the article says to purchase. The article is to purchase. The article is to purchase.
No, he's saying, is there gonna be another meeting in order to, for the wastewater design?
Right. Right.
Mike? Or Mr. Ralph? Please stand.
Yes.
Yeah, you're too long.
He asked if there's any other towns using a similar system as what we're looking to put in. Yes, there is other towns. He would like a list of a couple, 3 towns that are using it.
Yeah, I can get with Otter Creek Engineering and give those to you.
Decisions are gonna be done. What they want to do. Don't make the decision. Allow big water system to be. Hold that big power. Mine would bury everything in the fire. Won't give us any. Your part. If you know, people don't realize that. Guess what? Some people use it, famous water. He really hard, probably. There's a problem here, next person is not operating. Now, $4 million. So there's a facility on the other. But in the case with that. Normally, yelling. It's failed. Can't put the library in. You have to put it. Can't put some anything in there. Neighbor. You know, it's like a big because it's a water, some of the water comes in. The well. The town I gave you. You the type of soils we have here. Mine. There's no, not bother something else. But there's when we bought it, the bottom.
All right, because a lot of the people down here can't hear you guys. If you're gonna speak and you want a question, you're either gonna have to come to the front of the room so you can use the mic or project your voice back to the crowd. People cannot hear what you're saying. These guys can. All right. Yes, sir.
My name's on in. You guys have done a great job here. There's a lot of work being done. But you can buy the land, and now you're gonna run a pipe down there. How far is it?
That's actually the closest property that met our standards. That was why that was appealing.
I know the airport. They're gonna buy it, but it's $3 million. How much is this one gonna cost?
I believe it's 3,500 feet.
I'd have to look at
Yeah, I
the
don't
drawings.
remember.
You know, we like to open. It's not complete, or you don't have to fix it. We're just buying a piece of land. But the rest of it isn't there. The engineering work, the mail system, how much is that gonna cost? You know, there's a lot of stuff in it. You want us to vote on, I don't know what.
But if you're not willing to allow the select board to purchase the land for $0 currently, there's no sense of going forward. Right now, you've spent, besides the purchase price of $250, you've spent about $40,000. The rest of the money that they have used and gotten has been from grants, which has not cost the taxpayers anything. So right now you have about 40 grand in it. If we go and do a full design, we do a workup, we do all the estimates, we get all these bids, and we can't get any more grants because we don't have a piece of property to go on it, you're going to pay that money out of taxpayer money. Because they're going to say, you don't even have a piece of land there. We're not going to give you any more money for a grant. Right now, if there is, but they're not going to give you a feasibility study for something that has no property, that has no commitment from the town to purchase property. It, they've used all their grant money for that purpose to get as far as they have. So right now, we have secured a $2 million grant toward construction cost if that's what you choose to do. So you already have a pot of $2 million. That is secured at this point. That has a time period like all grants. But you do have that money right now committed to this project. Will we need more? Yes. Can we get more grants to put on top of that one? Sure. But we have to have the first step first.
So, I think it's really should do this grant that I was saving.
I would have to double check the grant application itself. I wasn't involved in that part of it since I'm new to this job. But I can certainly find that out.
Do you have a question?
No,
Norm?
yeah, this grant, you just kind of alluded to. What kind of strength does that have attached? In other words, you can get 200,000, but if you decide down the road, oh, this is not a project we can do. You have to pay it back. Or you just not get it. How's that work? Because most of these grants and things have specific purposes you're getting them. And if you get the grant and you don't do the project, it reverts back to who gave you the grant.
Yes.
That-
So if you purchase the land for 300,000, you would have to pay the grant back 200,000 if you do not use it for this clean water purpose.
What about the people who have water rights down there? On that property?
On Wright's property?
Yes.
Who has water rights on Wright's property?
Sonny has it, I have it, and mom has it, and Richards have it. It was all sold to us when we bought it from Harvey Bushy. Second question. When that pit was put in, pipe originally signed on the bill, or I believe it's through the state, that land was supposed to be turned back into agricultural land when it was done. Are you aware of that?
I am not aware of the water rights, and I would have to look at those with the lawyer to see what they entailed.
Are you also aware? They sold to this Midwest company back in 1968. They have a right to go over there and drill. They can put a drilling rig right in my front yard. Probably not aware of that either.
So to have mineral rights like that is not uncommon in a great deal of the country, and wouldn't really matter to our purpose. Frankly, we're going down, I think the engineer said 18 inches.
What's the water table?
I'd have to look at the chart.
That's not a concern. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'll be drinking that one.
I think I got that point already.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's all you got, right there.
I think that
Oh, yeah, push it.
There.
Because I've been up here before. And like it. But I understand some of the people think the biggest thing that everybody is gonna increase their taxes. I think if it didn't increase their taxes, then we wouldn't have a problem and we wouldn't be disrespectful. Number two, I don't want to sit up here and do all this research. And it is good to ask questions. And I have two little granddaughters that plan on staying in Highgate. And it would be nice to have a better library. It would be nice to do something with the property. But it sounds like we can't do anything. So. These guys got a tough job, that's all I'm trying to say. I would like to see something done in Highgate. It is deteriorating, buildings are going down. And I was aware of this, but I have heard that, I don't know if I should say it either, but I'm gonna say it anyways. That there's a Maple Fields coming to town. And they're not gonna be able to do anything. And what's David gonna do? What are we gonna do with the Mason property? We have that. We have to do something. I don't think it's gonna do a cut. I think we've got other things that we can do that will benefit the community and the children.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
$1,000 a year. That's the taxes that stay in town on 198 acres. This group is looking to purchase 18 of that. So the taxes that we would be losing off that are pretty minimal. Yeah.
Any other, just, go ahead.
I understand what she's saying, Debbie Rose. But what about our taxes going up because of what they want to put on the Macy property, the library? That's bottom floor. This is what I believe. And I don't think that's going up for something that isn't friggin' nobody goes. Oh, that's all I have to say.
I was just being removing it from the tax.
Go ahead.
That's a low blow that nobody goes to the library. If people don't want a library on that property, that's fine. And there will be a vote in the future to decide what goes on there. But the library is incredibly well utilized in Highgate now, and it has been for the entire time that I have lived in Highgate.
You're here. I'd like to make one comment. These are your neighbors. Look to your left, look to your right. Try to remember that. They're your neighbors. All right, any other questions? Any other discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Oops.
Henry.
Kind of two questions. Is the select board unified in just?
That's you.
Yeah.
The second question would be, if there's this much interest in this concept, are we building in?
This is, like I said, the initial plans that we had drawn up was done in stages. We weren't aware of how much capacity we were going to need. We knew what the Macy property would require based on town interest, potentially a commercial business plus maybe senior housing and library community center. That required 5,000. So we went up to 6,500 on the first stage. But this, by buying this much land, we have the ability to double or triple it. I think it's triple it.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
almost triple. We can go on that land, we can go triple that capacity. That's a giant leap in cost.
That's why, if we look at this, I think we talked about this, help me. The engineer came, as we brought it up, said, instead of doing such a small design, they would rather do a much larger design. Kind of for the reason of what we're hearing today with the amount of people that, and businesses that want to be part of it. So that's kind of what we would look at, and help me out if I'm wrong, is we would rather look at something like that than undersize it and then have everybody look at each other with egg on their face saying, oh my goodness, we made a mistake, it should have been bigger. But we're gonna try to design it with the same, it's the cost is the same for.
So yes, there's money available to fund the design of the entire concept for that 18 acres. So that's money that the town would not have to pay. So that grant money is available at this time. The state would also like to see us do the full design. And if we choose to construct it in phases based on how much we can afford or how much grant money we get, that's fine with them. But they suggest that we go forward with a full design just so number one, the money's there. Number two, it makes your permits all the same so that you wouldn't have to go back and try to redo permits to do an add-on system.
I don't know if there's enough want to warrant that kind of expense.
No, and I,
It's hard for me to support something that I don't want to do.
that's why we have all of those open meetings
I know.
and we try to get people involved so that you don't always have to come to just one single meeting, but watch the process as people go over these, and the engineers are at the meeting so that if you have particular questions, you can ask them. It's hard for us to remember all of the details of a project, considering there are many projects going on at the same time. And as for myself, like I said, this is my 5th week in this job, so I'm not totally up to snuff.
You know, we love when you come first. You know, put it out, and we like more people to come and give us an idea. There's only 5 of us, and we don't understand, you know, we need to know, we don't know what we do. You know, we need help, you know?
Don't feel. Yeah, this is not a road for any fact.
Yeah.
You don't feel you guys want to take paid. I think. Before with the cycle. And I don't. The administrative work. Place.
So my understanding of this is boiling down to that 20% of the land is not usable that we purchased. As you said, 80% is good. 20% is no good.
No, it's not that it's no good. It's just wouldn't be in that design. Mhm.
So that is good, 20% now. And my understanding is our taxes will be going up because of this project. Because when you go into other phases. Odds are, I'm gonna be paying out of our property tax. And again, I don't think it's fair. So a lot of these people in other towns that cannot utilize it.
You have the right to vote no now. You have the right to vote no at construction. You have the right to vote no at a different phase construction.
Again.
What answer haven't we, what question have we not answered?
And we're supposed to make, we're here to vote on the lands. I understand that, but we're here to, for the article here on the purchase of the land. That's this first phase, that's what we're here for. It's either yes or no on buying the land, everything else is, hasn't come to pass. This value. People.
The full extent.
So, you mean at full design, Brian? So at full design, it's about 3 times the 6,500 gallons for the first phase.
Almost 20,000 gallons.
So, yes. So it depends on the number of bedrooms and baths. Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
think it's
say,
130 a day for a 3-bedroom home. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it's around 130 gallons a day. For a single family dwelling.
Every. $12 million.
Yes,
yes.
it's good soil. It meets the state's requirements for conventions. I don't know offhand. I'm actually new to this board. I wasn't here for when they did the test plots.
Yeah, I don't know what the water table is, do you? Right.
Don, I was there, but it did test. And there was no water anywhere, it went down 7 feet. Good soil over there.
Thank you. To put here. I'm sorry, Mr. Chevalier, you were before.
So
Example.
obviously, the rights had a transition in ownership. And, this land, I don't know if it was did not become available before, or just became available, but if you don't buy it, is there a potential that there's gonna be like 25 houses built there? Yep.
Absolutely.
Example. Thank you. Got it. The question. Okay.
Liza,
Okay. All in favor of moving the question to a vote? With a show of hands, I need my JLPs to count for me, please. I'm going to. All in favor to move the vote, to the vote, raise your hand.
All in favor of what?
just to move the vote.
Go to the vote.
Yes.
I like to see new book. You guys got numbers? Show of hands or no, for more discussion? I'll say any hands, okay, so motion passes. We're moving on to the vote. Yes, sir. No, we're not doing it.
What do you think? Favorable.
Get set up for that.
Yeah. we need to vote on it.
There's a second on the floor. Any discussion?
I do want to discuss something.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are we moving to paper ballot before voice voting or just voting? But no one wants to move Gloucester.
Okay, we can't talk about the ballot, Australian ballot on for town meeting. That's not germane to this meeting. Is there any other discussion on the paper ballot? All in favor of paper ballot, by a show of hands, raise your hands if you're in favor of paper ballot. Okay. Okay.
Well, tell your moderator.
You only need 7 to move it to a paper ballot. You don't, it wasn't, you, no, if you get 7 people.
Correct.
We go to a paper ballot.
You had 7?
Yeah. It will be a ballot. We'll probably take a 5-minute break. So we'll be back here at 6:57 for the vote.
Huh? Oh, yes. Just keep reading the first line. That's right. That's right. But he would have said the same thing if I was sitting in your spot, Richard, so don't worry about it. That's right. He would have said the same thing, so. No, the JPs are only allowed to help her and Shelley, she's all set. She's got herself, yeah, she was ready. She just didn't want to.
I don't think the.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd like to be wrong. We can't go. Spending on money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
Right. Right, but you have people that don't understand.
Well.
Yeah.
And forget the revenue. It's still good right now, so that is.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks. You could pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to be as honest and transparent as possible. That's. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. I have a paper ballot.
Well, I expected that was gonna happen. Yep, yep. Well, here, why don't you sit here and watch the box? I'm just gonna leave my little Zoom going and I'll go and talk to Kyle.
I have to make sure nobody's 6'2" in there. Watch her, she don't give them to. No. You're gonna have to go through 2, don't forget. Wish you'd go first.
I'll watch your dogs. Perfect. I think Dennis is gonna vote first and then he's gonna be sitting here too, so. Dennis.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You might want to say something. Well, I think it's a yes, we're doing it, or no, we're not. I mean.
Don't tell this guy with a red shirt. Hey.
Yes, yes.
So that meeting there doesn't do. You get me?
I did, yep. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I got you. Yeah. Name? Oh, name.
Hey there.
How are you? Name?
Robert. Yeah.
Thank you. Check me out. I am. Damn right. Name? Melissa? Yes. Gover. Hi. Thank you. Name?
Mark. Same last name.
Yep. Yep. Emily? Yes. Morris. Thank you. David. Sue Coca. Thank you, Sue. Tammy. I know, I sound okay. No, you sounded really good. Finally speak good. No, but I get it too, because we don't know what the future's stairs. Yes. How are you, Brian? Good. Gonna be better. Love this stuff. Oh, man. Name?
Arthur DeRosa.
Thank you, Art. Debbie? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking the hard questions. Name? Albert. Thank you, Albert. L-U-R-A, right? L-A-L-U. Okay, I did have it. Okay. Mike, thank you. Morris? Yep, thank you. Bye. Mr. and Mr. Spears. We're back.
Find your blade, go through it. One part through it.
I got you, Virginia. Yes. Robin?
Robin, yes.
Okay. He's on it. Okay. No, sir. Richard.
He didn't want to buy it because
Gotcha.
it was part of
Michael. Sure. For you. Thank you. Name? Sally. I got you guys. Okay. Yes. David. Thank you.
The Miami's all been for you.
Debbie. Hi, Raymond? Mike, too, right?
Yes.
Mike's back on thing. You got it. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. Yeah.
I know my down in the match in the middle of those down the field. Go in. And put a little place on it in it. Back up. No, I'm gonna love something. Hey, but he might have. But then I'm so love it.
I get to be in March. Yeah, I know. Name? Thank you, Marie. Name? What was it?
Sure.
Short?
Sure.
Stewart. Okay, thank you. Stanley. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. And George. Thank you, George. Hi, Heath Martell. Thank you. Nor. Ralph. Mary. Yes, I recognize you. And Jim, thank you. Ty. Yes, right. Yeah, don't forget both. I got you.
Sorry, Shelley.
I had to say. I got you with Debbie. Oh, that's, I was like, dude, Marie. Yes. My brain is not working as fast as my face. Yeah. Pat, thank you. Sarah, Judy. Yeah. Is Morris with you? Yes, he's behind you. Okay. Yeah, I put you with Pat. Right. I can vote now. Look at you, big girl. I didn't have to get my hand up when the Shane is Kyle. It's been bad. Okay. It's nothing because it was a lull. Okay. I got you, Morris. I got you. Lou. Rick. Woody.
Yep.
Yeah. Got you, Don. Good, you? Yeah, right here.
You got it right, my name?
I did. Right down the line.
You already got my
I did. You know it. That's fine. I got you. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
All in for goodbye. Yes, sir. Voting is closed. Look, don't drop them. Okay, off we go. Yes, sir.
Your overhead cost.
Might have been.
Or like hook them. We have to figure out what percentage they have. Well, the testing grants are expensive, that's a little preliminary. They did put that up.
It's been outside. It's appropriate.
That's what, I mean, it was. If he wants to go to sunset.
Yeah, just a record, he's gonna lose it. Okay, so this is my. For every $12 million. Spent. We'll take 1 million gallons. It's a 12 to 1. That's the number. It's small. Exactly, but this, so that's a number that I think we should be cognizant. And I agree, yeah. For every $12 million you spend, you could lose million gallons of water. Right, well, if you're based, absolutely. If you're based on it, it's nice. You know, you only want to see 100,000. That's the quick and easy down and dirty. I did put the pieces out. I think. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated or stand, whatever you're doing. On an administrative note, I don't look good in these, but they belong to some lady, I'm sure. I don't know who they are, but they're up here. All right, I'm gonna read the article again, and then I'll tell you how the vote went. Article 1. Shall the voters of the town of Highgate approve the purchase and sales agreement entered into by the town select board at the meeting of May 4th, 2023 of 18.5 acres from WRB LLC in the amount of $300,000 for the purpose of creating a village wastewater system. Said purchase to be fully funded through a clean water state revolving fund grant in the amount of $200,000 and through the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act grant in the amount of $100,000. There was 83 total voters. We had 44 yeses and 39 noes. The article passes. Let's go. I'd like to thank everyone for their participation. Have a safe evening. Drive safe. Be kind to your neighbors. Have a good day. Here's the problem. I live here 2 years. Yeah. Oh, you I thought you were a lady.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So, is there any board members?
Well,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was putting that back in and, then Vern couldn't, count to money, but it's still on.
Well, there's
2 empty spots right now. Still on the line. Yeah,
So, Kyle and Norm, or
have both with their name, yes.
you both good names?
Thank you, Phil.
What's on the agenda anyway?
Town plan, fire commissioner. And then just the basic stuff. We need a new lister. Or a new zoning administrator because our contract's ending. And we're talking about doing a lister slash. Sure, see if we can give it to a full-time position, maybe get someone actually interested in doing the job.
Because zoning right now was with the.
NRPC, but they want out of their contract by August 25th. Yeah. Our town is too difficult. We have too many problems and he doesn't want to take it.
What does that mean?
I mean, he's afraid of confrontation.
Where?
Yeah, apparently Sheldon is a free for all.
yeah, I know. Well, I didn't approach him because I didn't want to be this.
Before Roger died with that.
Okay, anyway, I think we're going to pay it. Is it worth it for you?
Okay.
He told me, he said, how much is you want to pay? I'll give you 5 grand, 46. 37.
Yes, fees.
You want to go? I figured, I don't know if you can do it with your grant, you just bought it,
Right.
that's stipulation.
Something we have to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll get some answers.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Can I show you? Roger Ray came over and he was gonna sell me this right here,
Oh, yeah,
because it's steep bank, steep bank, steep
Yeah.
bank. Nobody can use it ever for
Right.
anything.
correct.
And zip lines.
There you go.
Oh. You ready? Are you ready? to order?
Yeah, wait for Wendy.
He's important.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a regular select board meeting. We're not done. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. You ready? Yeah. Okay, I'd like to call the select board meeting of July 20th in session. Is there any public comment? Yeah. Yeah.
Let you know, the state came down April, at the end of month. Back about 3-4 years ago, we acted, we didn't back in. I think the other part was given out and they had got a thing. And they added an extra little stone on the other side, a little bit, it started to sink in. So we are safe again, it's clear, it's all done and it's finished. And the state and.
Thank you, thank you. Is there any other public comment? And
I asked the road foreman quite some time ago, there's no speed limit sign leaving. Highgate going on the road. I think it got knocked down a year and a half ago, and it never,
so leaving. Right,
when you're heading home, there's no 50-mile-an-hour speed limit sign.
okay, I'll mention it.
You know, it's getting old going 35 all the way to home.
Everybody listen to that. I'll wait up the road.
Yeah.
Hey, is there any other public comment? If not, moving on, where's my?
Luke.
Okay. Town plan. Public meeting for approval.
Luke Dupree.
Luke. Oh, there he
He's
is.
in the back there. That's right. You did, but you had to do it twice.
What is the Vermont statute, our municipal plan, to be readopted every 8 years or the will expire? This plan update focused on updating data and information and adding new implementation tables and future new resorts to the P.E.G. Community visit. And economic development initiatives to the plan. Purpose of this series is to receive and discuss public comments on the plans to impact all the graphic areas. The Highgate Town Plan includes 11 chapters, 2 appendices. Introduction, visions for the future of Highgate, social and economic resources, natural, cultural resources, energy, transportation, community facilities and services, all hazards, utilities, land use, neighboring communities,
And the region. Recommendations for implementing the plan. Appendix A, enhanced energy plan, maybe housing needs and stuff. These chapters are consistent with the 14 goals of Scotland. In the chart. Currently, the Highgate Town Plan will expire on July 23rd, 23.
Yeah,
The plan update focuses on updating data and information, adding a new information. Work of DCRD, Highgate Community Visit and Economic Development Initiative. To the plan. The plan does make 2 minor alterations to the design and plan. Proposed land use maps have been altered to add 2 overlay districts. One is the airport overlay district. Added an airport overlay district to the future land use map. With the purpose of limiting the height of structures in the immediate vicinity of the airport. To allow modifications to the dimensional standards to support the airport related commercial and industrial use. That one is the floodplain overlay district. Added a floodplain overlay to the future land use map based on a 100-year floodplain as mapped by FEMA. The purpose of the floodplain overlay is to restrict and regulate development in the floodplain in order to prevent impact. Changes will most likely have minimal impact in the surrounding areas. Districts were already identified in the previous plan. The only change to this plan makes is adding these areas to future plans. Changes are not expected to lead to major changes in the overall pattern of compact development of villages and open space elsewhere. Have significant impact on traffic. These changes will affect long-term benefit on the municipality by limiting development in areas with such development is developed high cost of maintenance and of infrastructure to public safety. Case the airport overlay district supporting appropriate development of the airport. Considering alternate locations, uses and impacts in other areas in the size and boundaries of proposed changes and appropriate to proposed use.
so the select board will need to vote on approval of the plan since this is our final public meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan.
I'll second. All is in session, member, have anything? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All vote? Ayes have it. Okay, moving right along. Fire Commission. Isaac Kaminsky, update.
So, an update from our communication. So we are updated information through our meeting. April 9th, that we were upgrading our communication. We have with our radio program, we're having issues connecting radio to radio. Truck to truck is not a problem, but if we are talking. Something exactly not a supply for that. So we it's roughly like the exact number, but the number is voted to approve, the study. And we need, what we really need is purchasing a duplexer. That was supposed to be in June, we're still waiting for it. The person who is purchasing that is checking with the distributor to see if it was shipped. If it is not shipped, he's going to be looking at where we can get that from someone else. So that project has not been completed yet. Trainings, we continue to do Monday night trainings. Attendance is off the charts. You know, we haven't seen attendance this good in years. Folks are coming, they're participating in the trainings. We have 4 to 5 members who will either be attending firefighter 1, which is going to be in Sheldon, starting in September, or they will either challenge the test. That is an option. So last I knew was 4 to 5 students. And those would be fun for them. We have 2, so we total 5 new members that joined since we did our volunteer campaign in December. And we're going to run that again. It's coming this summer. So we have been voted and approved one of my members. They need to complete 6 months of training and check off all of the requirements before they're able to membership to be voted on. We have 2 others that will soon be coming up. So things are going well. Teamwork is it's great. We have had as of last the 12th, so on July 12th was the last one I had that's our call. We have responded to 61 emergency response calls since the beginning of January. Our highest call volume anytime of year is well, basically accidents and medical assistance. So those have been our 2 highest number, along with accidental fire crimes, which we frequently get. And we have had 1 structure fire, which last month, and then we've had 28 to help support that. As far as our community outreach and engagement, you know, we have Health Week in the past, dog vaccination clinic, we've done a section truck event. We have done 3 walk to school events. We ran, woman, whatever, the 2 crosswalks on Mankin Street and then Hill, St. Albans PD does 78. So we're looking forward to assisting them with that. We'll walk the school events again. We have coming up in just a few weeks our 4-day event coverage at Highgate. Fire prevention, we'll do 2 days of classroom education, hands-on programming with pre-K through grade 6. The kids really love that and look forward to that every year. Using the hoses is really enjoy, and when we connect the classroom learning with the hands-on, it really makes the lesson that they've learned that year, because our lessons build upon each other each year. You know, for different skills and different stages, but that definitely helps connect and make those lessons stick. We have natural, we're doing another in combination with Franklin Fire again, and we're going to be doing a safety check seat event going on in September again. Last year we did 18 car seat checks. I think only 2 of the car seats be inspected and installed properly.
Oh.
one of the things that is on the radar of Texas, across the state, sharing information with you, is that please showing up. Unfortunately, my families are purchasing these online when they realize they are not safe for their child. Another one was found yesterday at the medical center. So far we found 5. So these are out there. Unfortunately, they're only being seat checks. So seat checks are important. Our numbers, we've done 13 inspections at our station, and those numbers have technically started to come out since, which is really good. As far as our critical incidents, so Highgate Fire has a responder who does critical incident stress management certification. So I work with the P.E.G first and Pierce to inspire and giving us peers who either attended or responded to a fatal or all that impacted them, or it's just having compounding the call or all that impacted, they struggle. So unfortunately, I put myself on bypass mid-June because normally, I think last year I did 1 control incident stress management in the state. I did 3 in Franklin County recently, and normally I only do about 20 contacts with first responders. I did in 3 months time. I've done 46 contacts with members of departments that are on the county for fire, law, and wellness. So the need is definitely there, and I am working with a few other responders in the area to get some training on board so that it's not just one person trying to support the responders. So that is, I put myself on bypass until the end of this. Still have fire alarms available for community members to use them. Smoke alarms need to be in place every 10 years. Should be tested every month. Now, these have internal batteries, so they don't sit in the pulse. And I think we probably have about 40 to 50 alarms that stop. I think we have a few that are not side detectors. Unfortunately, it's not class with more carbon monoxide. Free smoke alarms, please reach out because they are get up and get out. That is it. As far as updates, I don't know if anyone has any questions. You all have questions.
First of all, Liza, I want to thank you. I was in the fire station a month ago or so, and something that fire department, when you bring families in and seat them up for car seats, I think that saying that Highgate Fire Department is going above and beyond. I think that is good. I just stood there and listened to you. You showed them how to buckle up and make sure they were all safe. And I want to thank you for that. Hey, keep up. I've seen a lot of great things happen in that fire department, and fun just to go shoot the bone. It's a good place to go. It gets a lot of stress off sometimes. And
a great team. Everybody Heather. I think we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah. Thank you, and anybody got anything for,
Yeah, and I'd like to thank you for helping those who face that trauma. That's always been a big thing for the Highgate Select Board, was to make sure all team members were taken care of. And thank you for doing that.
Let's talk about it, because we need to talk about it. We'll get out.
thank you, and while we're on fire department, see the assistant chief is here. He had a couple questions for me, and while we're on fire department, I think now is a good time
Sure.
to bring it up about our utility. And I know you mentioned something to me a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to make sure that it's the right thing and that you're able to go ahead with it, because I think what you said was right. On the utility, the new box, after July 1st, they're able to purchase that, right? Work on purchasing that.
That is a Shelley question,
Okay.
because she's got your money.
I think so.
Yeah, I know we had talked about doing something out of the ARPA money too, so I'm not sure how it ended up.
Okay. And was it money for out of ARPA money? Was
Select, my knowledge of any art.
okay, I didn't think we did, but okay. Okay, so okay. What's that? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But is the radios a tower issue or is it a radio north issue?
It's not a radio north issue, it's a
What we're doing is we're adding that. We're sharing little things with Franklin to make it.
Will they be contributing to the cost of the upgrade?
they are giving us.
No, it's not for them. They're.
Oh,
We haven't.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You all set? Yeah, oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay.
I can invite you. Department to do walks with the department again. Let's go again. Second week of September. You want to be those 3 items, the facts are right, with that. Yeah, we usually do this too. And then like when anybody, you know, that was serious. The second one was like when anybody the donation fee.
Maybe with the dog or when I do fire prevention at school, being with a dog, and I would say, they won't ever get one, because we don't live at the stations and no one is there to take care of it. So, if you want to come and take care of it, put it in and out, I mean, we can get it.
My dog would go with you to fire prevention. She'd like that.
Okay. Oh, okay, thank you. And we'll see you in October. Look forward to it. Yeah.
Okay, next, Ty, you're up.
Don't know if you have it in front of you or not, but there is a quote for
So this is the quote for the field.
here, which is permitted. To do it, all dirt again, instead of putting in a sod and field with just a base pass, as you see, professionals. With the two reasons, twice the maintenance to do grass. And it's twice the costs. So, field mix like we did the field gives it more ability to be multi-use field. Awesome.
And I will say that half of that purchase price right there is paid for by a grant that they already have. So they have a grant for 18,000, so part of that field cost is covered under a grant already.
So you're saying they got 18,000 on a grant?
Yes,
6 for the quote.
yes, but that also included electrical upgrades that they did.
Okay,
So I haven't seen those bills yet. So,
So whatever's left from the electrical would apply.
right.
so we want to pass this.
You can make a
Right, so-
motion, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to get other bids or what? All
Robert tried to get this year. Chip was we did this one out here last year. It's the only one I could get last year. Robert reached out to
Yep.
two other guys. One of the guys actually wants to come watch Chip do it. And then give a quote for this.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're as transparent as trying to get other.
Yes.
If you've tried before in the past, and that's all you get, I understand. Mary, anything?
No.
Yeah, because it's a specialty thing.
Yep.
That they're kind of limited in their options.
So can I motion to a bid from Diamond Turf Incorporated of $14,896? I'll make the motion.
A second.
Have a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. 0.
And then Shelley has a couple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, too, but Jeff, I had forwarded this to you. Jeff sent that to me. Dated pro shop contract for renewal with LaShore.
Yeah.
That's mine. Change the dates. Something dates, same thing.
You guys are satisfied with what was being done before and it met all the needs of what you guys wanted it to do?
Yeah,
Okay,
first option.
okay, good.
He has the best option.
I just want to make sure you
We
guys.
haven't had any.
Exactly.
You know, so,
Yeah, I saw it meeting.
okay, can I have a motion to accept the Highgate Recreation Facility Shop contract? Gary Story? The period is July 1st.
I'll second the motion.
2003 to June 30th. Okay, and a second. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. 3-0.
Now, did you have the roof contract too?
I did print it and bring a copy. I didn't know this. But I do have it. I thought I was just looking.
Building.
Nope, sorry. You didn't give it back, so I figured you were gonna bring it.
So there's a. So I need to get it.
Okay.
Thing that is needed, but. That they've
with their insurance. And there's, the contract is very clear in all of their agreements, so that would satisfy one of my audits at the end of the year for hiring them.
I do want to see it afterwards, but my question is, this was in the paper and we're not for bid. We're just to Rob.
I don't know.
No, no, it was just solicited, we solicited, for patch job.
Oh, for a patch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's not the.
$5,000 or something.
Yeah, it's under 5 grand, yeah.
Thank you.
Get the sideways ring. It runs down and puts a hole in the fence.
I had Rod Roofing to work here before. No. Okay. They came and took a look and they were.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah, I did get a second quote. It wasn't apples to apples. It was a much bigger section and a different. Idea of what to be built here. Okay. And it was okay. It was about $5 and I'll send that. Sure, right. Good. And also, the reason we didn't go with a bigger area, yeah, is because we are still in top 30 or narrowed down to 30 for federal earmarking for this project.
What does that mean? Can you help me with that?
That's, I believe. that-
Welch.
Proposal, request from town to replace this roof.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
they,
need to find a department. A fund.
Okay.
So.
so they currently have an possible earmark or grant for $408,000 that would redo the roof here and work on their opening in the front here to change that so that they don't lose so much energy out that.
So. That's gotta be kind of in the works then, because I wouldn't want to just.
Yes. It is, but we won't know whether we're. So we've been narrowed down from 150 applications to the top 30.
Okay.
So we won't know for many months to come whether or not we will actually get that money. And then it'll be another 6-8 months before we actually get any money.
By then, you're to protect our.
Right.
Okay. I have a motion to accept Rod Roofer to patch the arena for $4,900.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Ayes have it. 3-0. Hey, anything else, Todd?
This, I guess. I don't think it's got to their table yet, but it came to us. Today, rumors going around that we're not going to sell ice to St. Albans this year. And that is in no way, shape, or form true.
Okay, good to know, because I did hear that.
The 3 in-house customers. Not for not have that ice get empty And it's potentially, I don't know, when you asked to be at our next meeting without any. Just. some Transparency there, and we've gotten requests from Milton Hills. You guys have been in the building years, I believe. Come back, they were in Gutterson. Sundays. And we're gonna work, Justin's gonna work the schedule, and sell this as much as we can sell. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Barbara. You've done. Okay. It done. Okay. Kelly.
Okay, so check warrant I had emailed. This first page, I know I explained it in the email, but you're really only approving the highlighted ones because of the way the timing was on your last.
Right.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Henry.
I wasn't expecting you guys to meet specially, so I was dating everything for when our meeting was, so that there was overlap once I had done payroll.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay, has everybody seen, yeah, okay, could I have a motion to accept it, or?
Make the motion to accept the second one.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. 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 Ayes have, all opposed. Ayes have it, 3-0.
Delinquent taxes are down to $56,000.58. Still have $56,058. Like it to be at this time of the year, but there's a lot on here that I'm gonna have a real hard time getting rid of, and they almost all have to do with the Amco mobile home. So, working with the attorneys and Sheena, on what we can do to collect. Tax sale process, the Bard property that was for tax sale will be going through a different process through the court system. Because there are so many heirs to that estate, that the attorneys feel it's best to actually have the courts do the tax sale. It's gonna cost a little more, but at the same time, the town's not gonna eat that cost. That's gonna be collected through the tax sale process, whoever purchases that property. But that way, every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and no one can come back on the town and say that we sold something that we shouldn't have. Other than that, the only other thing I have, I'll let Wendy speak about the floor, but I want to give a public shout out to Matt Bouchard. He has been at our beck and call since the end of June. He has made sure that we were up and running the full 2 weeks. There wasn't, other than filing and staying as organized as I like to be, there was not one thing that I could not do at home the full 2 weeks that we were open, closed in the office. So he really went above and beyond to make sure that we were all in good shape. He spent an entire day with us getting our offices back up and running when we moved in. Open to the public on Monday on time. So he did a great job. We really appreciate all of his work. All I have.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Floor looks great. I was in there today.
The floor looks great.
You guys are pleased?
Yeah.
So far?
Okay. Wendy, it's all yours.
Yes. Go. Right? Do you know, as the road commissioner, Richard, is Butch planning on using the equipment at field days this year, and should a motion be made? Or has it already, maybe at your last meeting that I wasn't at?
No, okay, well, we have not, I was gonna ask Butch about that. Oh, and then I forgot about it, but
Maybe a motion in the event that he wants to, Because
would
it's
make
your-
sense.
Yes.
that's gonna-
Yeah. No, that's just, thank you,
Okay,
because that was, I
Yeah.
thought about it. a couple
Yeah,
days
well,
ago, and
Liza's updates comment jogged my memory too, so.
Oh, so. You
I'll make
guys
the
haven't been,
motion.
okay.
I'll make the
you know-
motion in the event that Butch would like to use the equipment at field day. Go ahead.
Second, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I feel it, aye. Yeah, could be. Okay, ayes have it. And what we use the equipment at field goals.
Special meeting. Because, we try to not have that week, but it never works. Never.
So can I have a motion to accept the, was it June 15th?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes for June 15th.
Second,
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Ayes have it. I'll make the motion to accept the minutes for July 7th, 2022. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Nothing on that, I'll abstain from that. I fell asleep on that.
Totally sweet. Now we know what happened.
I want to look.
Yeah.
You were part of the thing.
It's because you're so sweet. And circling back before, we have a lot of people that stepped up.
Yeah.
We worked close for 2 weeks. But we will work. Any messages in the mail got forwarded to us at home and our laptop, just like looking at our desktop, I felt bad. But we did painting while there.
It was,
We reorganized, we pulled that counter out, that's still a work in progress. So Public Works Department.
Yeah.
Really helped us out, moving out, moved back in, they were at our back. Back, liquid stone, maybe on the carpet, cleaning crew.
Yeah.
Took good care of us before we moved back in. There was a lot of moving parts, schedule. Trick came last minute, Plumbing, electric came and helped us out last minute, we take some outlets out of that counter. Yeah, it was just a big project. Some people forget that they didn't pay on the phone before they start playing. I got some messages, I don't think that was meant here. We call them back and say, you sounded a little pissed off, what did you do? And they're like, so, yeah. Before you start complaining about the things. But it was a good project, it is done, it looks amazing, that floor is gonna outlast all of us. No carpet, it's so much better, so I'm glad that the voters did, we budgeted for it. And it's done. Just have to finish up the counter and we'll be fully functional. Nothing that can't wait.
Okay, thank you, Wendy. Sharon.
okay, so I have a couple of things. The planning commission met. And they are interested in researching and possibly developing an impact fee for those developers that come into town and do multiple unit developments. So they want to know if the select board would like them to continue with that, if they have an interest in that. Or should they just disregard it if you have no interest in that?
I think we need to move forward.
Absolutely, because this will be able to support from those other areas that.
Yeah.
We could take over.
Okay, so I will tell the planning commission that it's a go. Second, we voted on the 7th to put the lister position and the zoning administrator position together to possibly do a full-time position. but the lister position has to be filled by a Highgate resident. Yes, the zoning does not. So I am asking you with this new information, do you still want to go forward to that? Or do you want to just list the part-time zoning and put with the possibility of lister also if you happen to be a Highgate resident?
I think that the lister, we've been going with two. Just, just leave it, do the zoning administrator and hopefully someday we'll be able to fill that lister and, we can advertise it, I think, but, I just think
I think the only concern that there is that if P.E.G gets done this year and doesn't rerun, then you're gonna be down just to Amy. And Amy is very busy with the campground and may or may not want to continue her tenure there.
so.
Yeah. So it's something to just keep in the back of your mind.
Have we had any interest in them?
We haven't put it out there yet. I wanted to bring it to the board
It's good to know
before
about
we.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I say,
Yeah.
Do we,
I think if, when the time comes that Amy leaves, it might be a discussion to hire outside assessors. I don't know that you could fill that role being so part-time,
right,
but it's a lot to learn too. But if they got a good zoning person in there that could spend a day in the office with the listers.
so question I got, do you advertise for zoning or zoning, do we at the same time try to advertise to combine them, or do we just let it be?
That's what I'm asking you.
Well, meeting, we voted for both without, I do remember now, you gotta do that. I think we should open our possibilities up. If nobody applies, then that's our answer for us, but I think right now we have to look at the future of the possibilities. So I'd say advertise it both ways, where.
Okay.
My opinion.
I agree, I totally agree with that. I agree with that. Yep, yeah. Mhm, yeah.
They could decide they only want to keep the lister,
Right,
or they could decide they only want to keep the zoning. I mean. Yeah. But if you put them both out there, I think Sharon worded it kind of perfectly today when we were discussing in the office. Potentially.
Right, I agree.
Full time.
yeah,
Because that might attract somebody.
Right.
Benefit. Potential is there.
Okay, and I had also emailed lister and zoning. Yeah, responsibilities and job descriptions, were those agreeable to everyone? Okay, so I will take care of that. And go ahead.
For zoning, is that what that's?
I think. Right. Okay, and the last thing I have is wastewater. What's next? So all those people that left, this is what happens next. We had our public vote with a yes. Now all of this goes to the legal office. They'll do a title search, deed preparation, title insurance and all that. At the same time that we're doing that, lights are on the next DRB meeting for subdivision. Excuse me. So that lot is separated and ready for us to use. we're also going to get with the engineer and the grant administrators and NRPC and see if we can find some more money. So we're gonna put some more grant applications in. We'll extend the contract with Otter Creek because he's the one been doing it, and we'll see if he'll do the full design for us, like we talked about. When Wrights finish their Act 250 permits, the purchase will be executed.
Okay.
So we'll exchange monies. Once we get to that point and we have a final design and hopefully more money, we'll look at the permitting process, the private and state easement process, and then bring that all back to the public and say, okay, these are the answers to the questions we didn't know all the answers to before because we hadn't got that far in engineering. You know, this is what it means. You can have Jolly, Irving, and a library and 2 commercial buildings on the Macy property or whatever, however it works. But we'll have exact figures at that time. And then it again goes to how can we fund it? What are our hookup costs going to be? How much is it going to be as a flow charge per day or per month? Then all that together will go out to bid to a contractor. If we get a yes construction vote, once the bid process has gone through, we'll pick a contractor and you'll have construction. The only caveat to all this is that the money that we have gotten, that $2 million, and any other ARPA funds that we get or use toward that have to be used by December 2026. So we've got to, yes, so we've got to keep moving along fairly good pace, yes, in order to get this done, so that we use that money and don't lose it.
And I know to get potential business in town, they're gonna need it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I can tell you, I have not called back Mr. Valley because I wasn't sure what was going to happen tonight. And I wasn't sure on some details with the engineer. And I wanted to be better informed before I said anything that might get myself into trouble. So see, Richard, you're not the only one that does that.
Yeah.
So for select board,
So, but there's something else here.
yes, speed study.
Study.
Yeah, Vern had asked if there's anything we could do to help Route 7 in front of Martin's store. Yeah, because the children that are coming from the Tyler place during the summer are riding their bikes across, and some of them are barely able to touch the pedals. And people are going through there at a pretty good clip. And Vern is pretty concerned that somebody's going to get killed there. Yeah. So he asked, what could we do about it? We can request the state do a speed study, which consists of a letter, and I can write that up and send it out if that's what you'd like to do. Okay. Yep. So I have a couple of things to be signed. Oh, and one information, we received another $18,000 grant for road erosion.
Oh, good.
So the culvert that you agreed to pay for on the 7th will now be paid for by a grant.
Nice.
So that is one of the grants to sign
Up on
on the parent road.
Okay.
Yes. The one where it washed out a little while ago. So. Yeah. Okay, so the first grant I'd like you to approve is the $200,000 grant that we had received before for paving. The Macy Road. So that's just a single signature, so just have a vote for Richard to sign.
Make a motion to allow Richard to sign the standard grant for the Macy Road project.
Second.
Yeah, the favors out there. Didn't you?
All in favor? Okay. Oh. Ayes have it.
Second one is the $18,000 grant that we just received yesterday. And we just talked about that, so I'd also need a motion for Richard to sign.
I make the motion for Richard to sign the 18,000 grant to cover the current road.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Okay.
And then the last thing that I have for public meeting is I need to have your signatures on an appointment of alternate authorized representative for the grant system. This one is for Clean Water State Revolving Fund and Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. So that is a one for all of you. No. Oh, Richard? You're not the state of Vermont, hon. That's all right, I'll cross it out, but you do yours on the right one, yeah.
He wants to be a state.
He wants to be work for the state, that's what it is.
Better.
Yep.
I'm gonna fix that other one.
I'll do it,
Okay.
I'll do it.
I would like to- Is that it for you, Karen?
So that's it for me. I have 4 things for executive that hopefully are quick.
Yes, that's one the keyword.
Start with anything? Blackboard or nope? Yeah. Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn from the regular meeting and go into executive?
So move.
I'll make the motion.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'll do it. Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Nice seeing you, Patty. Everybody else.